Well, good morning, magandang umaga, and welcome to today's episode of My PI Dream. We are into day, I think this is day four of the installation of the roof on the back porch in the sunroom of Villa Feliz here. You can see we have a big crew today, lots of people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the contractors themselves. That puts us up to about 8 here this morning, a big crew. And today is the installation of the PVC, some electrical wiring that's going to be done. The pin lights, I don't think the pin lights will be installed today because I think they're pre-setting everything up for the electrical. I don't know, maybe it'll get done today. I don't know if the electrician is going to be here. Anyway, I'm telling you everything, and we haven't even really started today's episode. So without further delay, let's get today's video underway. Now what you see here is some of the typical stainless steel aluminum that they're going to be using for the install. They have some of the A channel which will hide the ends of the PVC just like we installed on the regular roof up here. So it should be seamless. You should not see any screws. You should see no hardware. It should be a clean install. We'll follow it as the build is being done today. Okay, so what you're seeing here is the drilling holes in the C-purlin, and then they're going to use this protective cover right here. This is what the electrical will run through so that any of the sharpness from any of the holes in the purlin that was just cut, it doesn't do any damage to the electrical. We don't want any shorts. Also, what will be installed, this was the foil that I was telling you about. This is the foil that will go above the electrical and the PVC. To help with some of the pent-up heat or the radiation from the sun on top of the roofing tiles. We don't want to have any heat radiating down inside the small area. Even though it's an open area, we still don't want any radiation, and we don't want to do any damage to the PVC as well. Well, it's lunchtime, so this is a great time to talk about a couple of topics. But let's go ahead and look and see where we are from the time that the roofing team came in this morning to where we are right now. So the first thing that got started this morning was the foil insulation. And so this is a topic I need to discuss with you because there's a lot of questions that people ask about foil insulation. Because, you know, foil insulation, normally in the Philippines, it comes in kind of two configurations. Foiled and foam, or foil, foam, and foil. You'll have double-sided, what they call double-sided foil insulation. And I want to talk about that just a little bit. But you can see here, this is the foam that's on the bottom of the, like what looks like aluminum foil on the opposite side. Now the question normally comes in, what side do I put the foil on if I don't have double-sided foil insulation? And that's a good question, and it's a very important question because so many times I've seen insulation installed incorrectly, where the foil is on the bottom. The shiny stuff that you see, it looks really neat, but it really doesn't do anything for you. What you should do when it comes to foil insulation is the foil should always be on the roof side, on the top portion, because the radiation from the sun goes into the roofing. It penetrates and the heat comes from the top, and you want it reflected back up again. Now if you have double-sided insulation, no worries, because you'll always have the sun hitting on the shiny portion from the top. But it's more expensive, and it's really not needed. That additional expense is not needed in hot places around the world, like right here in the Philippines. Now if you were up in Baguio and you wanted to be able to retain heat, say in your roof during the wintertime when it's really cold, then it's good to have the double-sided insulation. So it does two things. During the summertime, it will reflect those sun rays away from your roof. protecting you underneath, and during the wintertime it will retain the heat inside your house. But here it would be a waste of money for the double-sided, so that's why we have the single-sided. But occasionally they will be installed upside down sometimes. Now you see, this is our PVC, and this is our finished for the underside, and they've already started installing that here. You can see they've already done this section right here. So what I will have them do is do a quick measurement from the fascia over here to where we want to do the pin lights, and to make sure that the electrician, when he comes back later on, he has the exact spot, and we're going to go in the second row from the bottom of the PVC vinyl. We'll go right in the center and we will cut the holes. I asked them to get a hole saw cutter. Now when you buy pin lights, on the box of the pin lights or inside in the instructions, they will tell you, here, it's easier for me to show you. Let's go over and look at the instructions. Well, over here, and I looked earlier this morning, we started out with 5.5 watt, then we went with 7 watt, and every time they go to the store, they're out of stock of certain what we're trying to get. So right now we have 5 watt. These will save a lot of money, but won't be quite as bright. So these are the pin lights that we're talking about that are going to be installed inside the PVC. It's very simple. They will cut a hole. This will pop inside, and these little clamps will lock it in place so it doesn't fall down. But what some installers do, they don't invest in a hole saw, and they'll cut it, and it's okay to do that if you're very good, but there's always a chance that you might damage the PVC. So what I asked our electrician, please go and see if you can find at one of the big box stores a hole cutter. And you say to yourself, well, how do I measure what size do I need? Well, you can get a caliber, which is what I did earlier, just to verify, and check what the distance is here. And you really want to check what the distance is to the edge of the little springs here, so that it will fit up inside the roof easily. But if you look at the instructions will say, they will give you a little list here, and it will give you a model number of your light, and this model number for this light right here is 59447. So we come down here and we find 59447, and then it shows you what size hole for your hole cutter to go. This is a C. You look to C here in millimeters, and 59447. So we can cut a hole anywhere between 87 and 92 millimeters. I asked them to look for a hole saw of 90, and that should work just fine. So that's what we'll use for installing these. It will also give you a depth measurement inside here, but we're not worried because we know these will easily fit inside the area where the C purlins are on our roof. And one more thing I want to talk about while we're over here is you have to determine what type of light, the temperature in Kelvin. And when I say that, it's these little markings on the top here. Normally it comes in something, they will say warm white, or cool daylight. 3000 Kelvin, 3000 K is for warm, 4000 K cool white, and 6500 K for cool daylight. And that's very, very bright. Now if you are trying to make a retirement a very relaxing place, and you want to stay a calm person, or if you are not a calm person, if you have high blood pressure, you really want to use these warm white. Villa Feliz everywhere, our yard, all the lights that are in the eaves, everywhere around our house, we use warm, and it's very comfortable. When you sit out here in the nighttime, it's so relaxing. It's so very relaxing, and it goes with the nice landscaping and everything like that. Normally, you would use either the cool white or the cool daylight. You would normally use that maybe in a kitchen where you want a lot of energy, a lot of bright light for when you're doing your cooking. But I recommend never using these brighter lights on the outside, because it makes your house and your yard look like an industrial site. It looks like a commercial building, and it's proven it will raise your blood pressure. So in my opinion, warm white is really the best for places you want to feel relaxed in. Alright, well, it is lunchtime, and that's it. If you want lunch, speaking to me, I better get inside the house. Let me go get some lunch, and then we'll continue with the build. Alright, the guys are actually on break right now. They get a couple of breaks a day and lunch and their lunch break. But something I want to show you that might be interesting if you're doing this as a DIY project yourself. They have something called end strip. I think I might have misquoted the name talking about H channel earlier, but this is end strip. This is the part that you actually connect your PVC, and if I can put it up here on the table to make it look very similar to the way it would be finished. Anyway, you would take your PVC material, and it slides in just like this right here and gives you a nice finished look once it's mounted. And you're probably wondering, how does it get mounted? Well, the preferred method that they do around here is they use something called a rivet gun. Here's a rivet gun. They put a little rivet, let me see if I can find one laying on the floor. Anyway, all the rivets down here have already been snapped off at the top. And this is what happens when you snap it off. But it has a little cap that goes on the end. You put it through here. You drill a hole through here into the metal that it connects to, which is part of our truss work that we have inside there. You put the rivet, you'll clamp it down, and it pops off a nice tight fit here, and this is what pops off in the back, because this is what gets pulled up inside this little tool right here. So this edge stripping is what's used. Now, you're probably wondering, what do I do when I get to a corner when I need edge stripping on both sides? Well, what you'll do is, see if I can find some more material. Let me show you. So you can take two pieces of edge stripping just like this right here, and what they will do is they will drill a hole through the side right here, and when they drill the hole through the side, they will take a rivet and they will go through the side, and they will connect these two together just like this. So you can have on both sides, you can have your PVC roofing material on the both sides. So that's how you do corners, just like what's being done up here. And let me see if I can get up here to show you. There you have it. Okay, well, the roofing team are gone. They are done for the day, and we're up to this point right here. They would have done a little bit more, but they ran out of foil, so they ran out a little bit of the foil insulation. They'll have to bring that in, and then they'll be able to complete that. So we have one more day of the PVC guys coming, but I gotta tell you, it looks good. Don't worry about this back here. I'm gonna clean all that up. I want to get all this done before I repaint and do everything that needs to be done to this area right here. But I'm happy. It is really starting to look up. I can't believe, I think we're into day 4. Day 4. I gave this build, I thought this build was going to really only take 2 or 3 days, but I always say, when you are calculating something, for me it's always a calculation of times 5. Whatever I think it's going to take, it's usually 5 times the amount of time that I calculate it's going to take. Now this one's not going to take that much longer, because again, I thought it was going to take 2 or 3 days, and we're on day 4 today, and there's really only a couple more days that have to be done. Actually, one day could be completed, because the guys that will be coming back that's doing the roofing, the Decra people, they only have to put some flashing on, and they have to do some more securing with some of the screws to make it nice and fit. Everything's fit very well. And what they have to do is less than a half a day. I would say a 4-hour, half a day. And then we have the PVC guys, which it took them all day to do the other side, but they got their momentum. What took a lot of time this morning was doing all the foam insulation at the very beginning. So they really only have, I would say, probably about another half day to get that done. So if you could have them both here at the same time, and we have the electrician that has to come in, but what the electrician has to come and do, that's really only about 2 hours worth of work, or less. So one more day. So I think we're going to end up with a 5-day. That was a long explanation. I'm sorry, but I'm trying to calculate everything in my mind. Again, one more day, I think, if everybody comes in at the same time. We'll see. So until that time, I'm going to close from here. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Please share, and if you have not subscribed, just click on that little My PI Dream heart. and the bottom right hand side of your screen. You'll be subscribed, and if you hit that bell, you'll be notified. So from right here in the sunny Philippines, you have a wonderful and blessed day. If you enjoyed today's episode and you would like to see more just like these, just click on one of the helpful links over to your right and you might be able to pick up on some good information on DIY projects, how to, or if you are interested in moving to the Philippines and building, you'll find answers there as well.